I had a woman in a pastel blazer screaming, "I run this community," while my deputy clicked cuffs around her wrists right on the gravel entrance to my farm. 10 minutes earlier, she'd slapped me, crushed my seedlings with her SUV, and called 911 claiming I attacked her. The part she didn't plan for was that the call was landing at my office. My name's Jack Turner, and yeah, before you ask, this is real life, not a courtroom drama. I own Oak Hollow Farm on the edge of a development called Meadow Ridge, and I also happen to be the sheriff for this county. That combo sounds convenient until you're standing in boot mud with a handprint burning on your face, knowing some HOA president is about to spin the story like you're the villain. Meadow Ridge went up fast. Clean sidewalks, pretty mailboxes, those little pond fountains that look expensive and do absolutely nothing. The moment the first moving truck arrived, the Homeowners Association arrived right behind it. Clipboards, bylaws, community standards, and a whole lot of confidence. At first it was harmless stuff. A flyer on my gate about neighborhood beautification. A polite email asking if I'd consider allowing a walking trail along the scenic perimeter of my pasture. I replied the same way I reply to any request involving my land calm, direct in writing. No easement, no permission, no access. End of conversation. That's when Brenda Whitmore started treating my farm like a problem she was elected to solve. Brenda was the president of the Meadow Ridge HOA, and if you've ever met that type, you can picture her without me trying. Perfect hair, white SUV, sunglasses bigger than her patience, and a voice that always sounds like she's talking to someone's employee. She showed up one Saturday while I was setting out produce at my farm stand. Didn't even say hello, just walked straight past the price sign like it offended her. "You need to offer resident pricing," she said, tapping a manicured nail on the table. "You're benefiting from our community." I stared at her and then at the tomatoes, like maybe I'd misheard the logic. "Ma'am, these are tomatoes. They're not a public utility." She didn't laugh. Of course she didn't. She leaned in and lowered her voice like she was doing me a favor. "If you cooperate with the Homeowners Association, you'll have fewer issues." And there it was, not a request, a warning. I told her the same thing I'd already put in writing. My property isn't part of Meadow Ridge. Her bylaws don't reach past my fence line, and if she had more questions, she could mail them. Brenda smiled like I was adorable. "We'll see," she said, and walked away like she'd just won something. For a couple weeks, nothing happened. Then the letters started. First, it was notice of violation for unapproved signage referring to the private property sign on my own gate. Then it was community access proposal with a map that conveniently drew a dotted line right through my pasture like my fence was a suggestion. I ignored the nonsense and kept working because that's what you do when you've got animals to feed and a schedule that doesn't care about someone's ego. Until the morning Brenda drove through my gate like she owned it. It was early, the kind of morning where the air's cold enough to sting your lungs and the grass is shiny with dew. I was in the middle of replacing a busted post when I heard tires on gravel fast, loud, wrong. I looked up and saw her white SUV rolling straight toward the entrance, nose pointed like a battering ram. Before I could even step fully into the lane, she swung in, stopped hard, and hopped out like she was late to a meeting with destiny. "I'm parking behind the barn," she announced, already glancing past me like I was a mailbox. "HOA is conducting an assessment for the community trail." I actually laughed one quick, sharp sound because sometimes the audacity hits you so clean you can't help it. "No," I said, "you're not." Brenda's head snapped toward me. "Excuse me." I pointed at the sign on the gate, then the fence, then the pasture, private property. "Turn around and leave. Right now." She put one hand on her hip and looked me up and down like she'd just found a stain on her carpet. "The Homeowners Association has authority in this entire area." "In your subdivision," I corrected, "not here." Her smile turned into that thin little line people wear when they're about to stop pretending. "You're being difficult," she said. "You're interfering with the community." I stepped closer, not aggressive, not threatening, just enough to make it clear the conversation wasn't moving any further down my driveway. "Ma'am, you're trespassing. Get back in your vehicle and leave." And that's when Brenda Whitmore slapped me. Not a dramatic movie slap either. A sharp, petty crack across my cheek that told me everything I needed to know about how she handles boundaries. For a split second I just stood there tasting dust and disbelief. Then she did the part that still makes my jaw tighten when I think about it. She spun, climbed back into her SUV, and floored it. She didn't reverse. She didn't turn around. She drove forward straight past me, straight past the fence line, straight onto my field. The tires chewed into the soft ground. The back end fishtailed, and the path she carved went right over a row of seedlings I'd planted the day before. I watched green shoots disappear under rubber like they were nothing. I watched my fence bow where her bumper clipped it. I watched her treat months of work like a speed bump. Then she rolled down her window and screamed, "I'm calling the police." And I heard her do it right there. I heard the fake panic in her voice as she dialed 911. "This man attacked me," she cried. "He's on my property threatening me. Send officers." I could have chased her. I could have dragged her out of the vehicle right then. I could have done a lot of things that would have felt satisfying for exactly 2 seconds. Instead, I forced myself to stand still. Because the truth is, being sheriff doesn't make you immune to a setup. It makes you a better target. I touched my cheek and felt the heat of that slap, and my brain started running the checklist whether I wanted it to or not. Where are my cameras pointed? Any neighbors see her come through the gate? How bad is the damage? How quickly can this turn into a headline if someone clips the wrong 10 seconds of video? That was the moment the anger shifted into something heavier. Not poor me, not melodrama, just the cold reality that one loud, confident liar can create a mess that takes weeks to untangle if you don't handle it clean. For half a minute, I honestly considered walking back to the house, shutting the gate, and letting the system chew her up later. Let her file the report. Let the court deal with it. Let the HOA rot in paperwork. Because I was tired of the letters, tired of the entitlement, tired of the way people like Brenda treat rules as something that only apply to everyone else. And yeah, I had a flicker of doubt. Not the mushy kind, the practical kind. Did I step in too close? Did I say something that could be twisted? Did I give her anything she could weaponize? Then my radio crackled. "Sheriff," my deputy said, "we've got a 911 call at Oak Hollow. Female caller claims assault. Units en route." I stared at Brenda's SUV sitting crooked in my field, and I exhaled through my nose, slow, controlled. No hiding, no retreat. If she wanted an official response, she was about to get one. "Copy," I said into the radio. "Hold at the entrance. Keep eyes on her. Body cams on." I walked toward the driveway, not rushing, not shaking, just steady. When I rounded the corner near the gate, 2 of my deputies were already there. Miguel Reyes and Dana Collins, standing with that calm posture officers get when they know the truth is about to reveal itself. And Brenda was performing. She was pacing, one hand pressed dramatically to her chest, the other pointing at my house like it had personally offended her. The second she saw my deputies, she ramped it up like she'd been waiting for her audience. "Thank God," she said, voice trembling in all the wrong places. "That man attacked me. He's violent. He threatened me. He's trespassing." Miguel didn't move. Dana didn't speak. They just watched, recording every word. Brenda turned and saw me walking up, and her face changed. Her eyes sharpened. Her mouth pulled tight. "Oh, there he is," she snapped, then leaned toward my deputies like she was about to deliver the final blow. "Arrest him. I am the president of the Meadow Ridge Homeowners Association. I have authority here." I stopped a few feet away, hands visible, voice level. "Ma'am, tell them what happened from the beginning." She blinked like she didn't expect me to invite the story. "I came to inspect community access," she said loud enough for the whole county to hear. "He blocked me, grabbed me, and struck me." Miguel's eyebrows lifted a fraction. Dana glanced at the tire tracks cutting through my field. I nodded slowly. "So you entered through my gate, drove onto my land, and I attacked you." "Yes," she shouted. "Exactly." I reached into my pocket, pulled out my badge, and held it up, not like a threat, just a fact. "My name is Jack Turner," I said. "I'm the sheriff." Brenda's mouth opened and closed once, like her brain needed a second to process the possibility that her favorite trick wasn't going to work today. "No," she said suddenly, quieter. "No, you're lying." Miguel took one step forward. "Ma'am," he said, calm as Sunday morning, "that is Sheriff Turner." Brenda's eyes darted, searching for a way out. Then she tried to pivot fast. "Well, then he's abusing his position," she spat. "He assaulted me, and now he's trying to intimidate me." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't get dramatic. I just pointed. "To the marks on my face," I said. "To the tire tracks through my seedlings. To the damaged fence. And to the fact that you just admitted on camera that you drove onto my land for an HOA assessment without permission." Brenda looked from my cheek to the field and back, and for the first time her confidence cracked. Dana walked toward the field edge, crouched, and traced the crushed plants with her gloved hand. Miguel looked at Brenda. "You understand this is private property," he said. "Correct." Brenda swallowed. It's for the community." Miguel didn't blink. "That's not an answer." Brenda snapped back into Karen mode, desperate and angry. "This is ridiculous. I'm calling your supervisor. I'll have your jobs, the Homeowners Association." "The Homeowners Association doesn't give you immunity," I said, still calm. "And filing a false report is a crime." Her face went red, and she stepped toward me like she was going to do it again, like her hand was an argument. "Don't you dare," she started. Miguel moved instantly between us. "Step back," he ordered. Brenda ignored him. "That was the last mistake." "Ma'am," I said, voice flat now, "you are under arrest for trespassing, assault, property damage, and making a false 911 report." For a second she just stood there frozen, like the words didn't fit inside her world view. Then she exploded. "You can't do that. I'm the president of the HOA. Miguel took her arm. Dana secured the other side, and the cuffs clicked shut, clean and final, right there on my driveway. Brenda jerked, yanked, tried to pull away until Miguel leaned in and said something quiet that made her stop fighting. Her eyes flicked to the body cams, the deputies, the field behind her. Reality showed up, and it wasn't impressed. As they walked her to the patrol vehicle, she tried one last line voice, suddenly sweet, suddenly reasonable. "This is a misunderstanding," she said. "We can work this out." I watched her get seated in the back, watched the door close, and I didn't feel triumphant. I felt done. Because that's what people like Brenda do. They push until someone pushes back hard enough that the world can't ignore it anymore. And the lesson is simple. When someone mistakes authority for ownership, you don't argue. You document, you stay calm, and you let consequences do the talking.